Here's our guy, Rob Parker. He had this response to my rant on James Franklin yesterday.
I'm going to rag on Doug Gottlieb, and I have to. What's the name of the segment? Because Doug does it on his show. What does the Fox say? He listens to like what we might outtakes, and then he kind of takes us to task on his show, which is fine. I'm good. This is all game. We're on the air. And that has to do with James Franklin. What do you think? Like he's so bent out of shape that Penn State fired James Franklin. And Doug, I get it. Doug's a coach who hasn't won, so he's making it like he can say whatever.
Soften that landing.
He can make whatever.
Sometimes it's hard as a coach.
He can make whatever. I get it, but it sounds bad. It just sounds bad because he's like, well, where's the honor in that? And blah blah blah. Dude, and we say it on this show all the time. Sports has a short menu, wins and losses, and when you don't win enough, guess what? You get fired. So I get it. But Doug is trying to oh, my God, it's so James Franklin, look at what he's done. And is that honor or whatever? Dude, stop. Okay?
I listen.
I get it.
They might look
Doug,
at you.
You're a coach. I know you have a radio show, but you're a coach. And your team won 2 games last year. So he's trying to well, it's not always about winning. It's about no, Doug. I hate to break it to you. It's about winning. And when you win, you can do almost anything, and they will bring you back. They'll bend over backwards, Kelvin. And when you don't win, guess what? They go get somebody else.
Okay. A couple things, Rob. First of all, I do like Rob. Most of his takes contradict his other takes. Or don't. The example is he always wants to fire everybody. He's a fire everybody guy. Fire everybody guy, right? Where here's the easy contradiction in Rob, which is he's always called Tom Brady the luckiest guy of all time, the LOAT, right? Luckiest of all time. And yet then he says that Bill Belichick's a fraud, right? So if Brady was lucky and Belichick's a fraud, how the fuck did they go to 10 Super Bowls or 9 Super Bowls and win 6 of them? Doesn't make any sense, okay? The other part with Rob is he hadn't really been around real sports. Respectfully, we won 4 games. And while that may sound like a infinitesimal amount, okay, not knowing or understanding, I don't give a shit, okay? Dick Bennett's the greatest coach here. He won 5 games his first year. Lots of guys first year. When you got 5 guys and you get the job, you got to throw shit together. This is not about being a coach. And this is where he didn't listen to the entirety of the rant. I didn't say you can't fire James Franklin. Okay, you want to pay James Franklin $50 million to not coach. Fuck, James Franklin be like, thank you. And as long as he doesn't have a clause where he can go out, he doesn't have offset, he's great. You want to fire me? Fine, fucking fire me. I'll go get another job. Don't care. This is not about again, you did not listen. You just maybe heard a blip, which is okay. I don't know how it's played for him in studio. They might have just played the part where I said Penn State likes to purport themselves as being this honorable, holier-than-thou program, and they're not. They're just like everybody else. It's about winning and losing, which is exactly what I said, which actually is in lockstep with what Rob said. My point is and remains, and I know it's fucking true because I fucking live it. I know that if you don't win, you get fired. I know you got to build and get better and better. If you want to say James Franklin hasn't won or James Franklin is Penn State better now than when he took it over? Yes. Are they to the level that you expect them to be? Maybe not. Okay. Last year they got to the College Football Playoff. They won two games in the College Football Playoff. So we obviously have no memory, and that does not create any sort of equity within programs. It's you have to win every year is what you're saying, which, again, is not really a reality. It's just not because guys get hurt, right? We could go through each of these different things, and we go all right, so James Franklin, between James Franklin being fired and being the head coach is really one play versus Oregon. That's it. That's how close it was. They lost in overtime, right, to Oregon at home. They don't lose that game. Who knows what happens at UCLA and Northwestern? Again, it took the life out of them. But that's okay. You're allowed to fire James Franklin. You're allowed to fire Mike Gundy. You're allowed to fire Deshaun Foster. You're allowed to fire all these guys. But understanding the landscape of what you're actually doing, okay? When you're in charge, just like when you're a coach, just like when you're an administrator, just like when you're running a radio show and you're all emotional and you're all fired up. You still have to have the balance of, okay, how does this affect the entire chessboard? So in Rob Parker's mind, James Franklin loses. He's a fucking loser. Get rid of him. Forget about the fact that he won last year. Forget about the program. It's way better than it was when he took it over. He's had plenty of time, and you want to pay him $50 million. Great. Why'd you have to fire him this week? Why? What good has been done? Right? When you're at Penn State, okay, you're not getting a new coach until you're going to hire a sitting head coach. A sitting head coach. Now, if you already had one planned or you want to hire somebody early and you want to pay for them and they can get ahead of it, now that would be a very interesting plan and one that I could probably get my head around, which is, hey, they hired a guy in November and he's the sitting head coach and he's going to be able to load up on players and go around the country and recruit, right? Because you're basically recruiting off other people's rosters and put together a portal, put together a staff, put together a plan. By my estimation, the smartest way to get Penn State back quickly, because you just destroyed the program. Understand when you fire a coach, especially midseason, you have fucking destroyed the program. You have lit a match, and that thing is on fire. And you may be okay with that. Okay, but understand what that means. That means you are not going to be good this year. You're not going to be good next year. And you're hoping that 2 years from now, you can get back to being the level that you're at now. And you're like, wait, how do you know that? Because you're going to have to get 70 new guys. You'll have 20 or 25 that love Penn State, that want to stay there. The rest of them are like, fuck this, I'm out. And because you fired James Franklin already, everybody who has eligibility has been contacted by somebody already. They're all in the portal, even though they changed the rule and said they can't get in the portal, the 30-day portal window anyway. It doesn't matter. They're all out there. They're all getting contacted. You've lost your entire roster. So the only way to soften that, and I'm only saying this because I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. If I could do it again, okay, I got hired late, but I should have hired a quality D2 head coach, not just to help me coach, but to bring his team with him so that we have some culture, so that we have some balance, so that we have a way in which we do things. Because the first year, when you go out and you get to the portal, you still haven't figured out your place. You haven't figured out your league. You haven't figured out the money. You haven't figured anything out. The first year is really hard. Bill Belichick's do we think Bill Belichick's a fucking idiot? No. His team's not any good. Why? Because they didn't have any understanding of putting together a team, what it was going to look like, what the level's like, what's it like in the portal, who do you want to recruit. It takes time. You don't automatically wake up in this whole new landscape and figure it the fuck out. So if you're going to hire Matt Rule from Nebraska, okay, that isn't going to happen between now and when Nebraska's last game of the season. Nothing changes. The only thing you've done is light a match to this season and told those players, we don't give a fuck about you and your college experience. That's what you've told them. Okay? And what I'm saying to you, Rob, is that, and I know because I've been to these institutions, and I actually drink the Kool-Aid, right? Like, again, and some of this is the Mike Gundy firing. Like, there's literally 15,000 people in that go to the games at Oklahoma State now. The whole season, they're sold out. It's like 60,000 people. They get like 15, 20,000 people. And again, if you don't know, you're like, well, Mike Gundy sucks. Well, no, he was a great coach, and then all of a sudden they're not good. Why? Didn't have any money previously, and this year they got some money, didn't have a great team, but the quarterback got hurt fucking three series into the season. And they paid the quarterback like $1 million, and he comes over with the offensive coordinator. You take away the quarterback, and now all of a sudden they don't have a quality backup, and now they're on the third string, and all they had was walk-ons because they ran out of money. So they put a wide receiver at quarterback last game. In other words, it's a complete shit show. They have a terrible football team from what was a great program. Now, does that mean they would have been better with Mike Gundy? Modestly. But you told, they've also had 3 or 4 guys put themselves in the portal before this new rule was passed. So you've told those players, You're done here. We don't give a shit about you. And by the way, Mike Gundy is one of your most famous alums. He's been there for 20 years. Like, did you really have to fire him? Did you have to go to him? Suppose they went to him like, hey, you can coach out the year, and you can retire, or we'll fire you now. Why did you have to go to him? Just, if you're going to fire him, just wait till the end of the year and say, hey, senior night, last game, we're done here. We'll pay you the check. Why'd you have to be so impetuous? What, so you can go and evaluate Zach Robinson, who's the offense coordinator and was a great quarterback and player, and his mom's an alum and he's an alum? No, you could have done that anyway. And by the way, you're going to ask Zach Robinson to leave his team in Atlanta and all of a sudden get into the portal? Like, maybe. But that's a hard one. What if they're in a playoff run? So my point, Rob, is that in addition to getting our record wrong, and while you think 4 wins is shitty, 4 wins is not good enough. The one difference in us and many other teams at our level was we had 4 wins and injuries, and I'm not going to make excuses for it, but they were 4 Division I wins. Most teams that finish with 5 or 6 or 7 wins, they have 3 or 4 non-Division I wins. We didn't have any last year. Only played 1 non-D1. We lost. But it's because I understand how it all actually works. I understand how hard that first year is of putting things together in the portal. And I understand that when you sell kids, players, on a belief in a place being different than others, you've completely destroyed it with your actions. So I have never said you can't fire coaches. We are all, as coaches, just coaching until we get fired. We get it. Okay? That's the job. It's the job. And the only, as I said yesterday in a rant which went viral on social media, the only unforgivable sin in coaching, now I don't abide by this, whatever, is winning or losing. Unforgivable sin is losing. Don't believe me? Guys have cheated their brains out and got plenty of jobs. I have plenty of jobs. Just win, baby. But the point is, if you think James Franklin can't win, then why did he win 2 big playoff games last year? If you want to fire him, you can. Just wait until a more appropriate time when he can go through senior night, he can coach out his team, he can shake all their hands, and then there's still a connection to the university. Instead, because donors are super bitter about the money that they spent on the team and it not coming to national championship fruition, they get mad and say, fire this guy now or I'm pulling my money. And athletic directors know they no longer have the power, so they fire these guys, unwittingly completely destroying any connection between alma mater or the school and the player. Because now a good portion of players are bitter. And oh yeah, by the way, those are your best salesmen to get your next players. Think about this, okay? James Franklin's going to get $50 million. His staff's all going to get paid out. If you had just waited, and again, their schedule's really difficult. If you had waited and they win a couple games, whatever, and you fire him at the end of the year, okay, but you handle it with supreme class. You go in and you say, Coach, this is going to be your last game. We want you to enjoy senior night. Invite anybody you want. This is the decision we made. We want to let you coach out the season. Okay? It's really, really hard to argue with that. And with the players, because the players know how it ends is more important than how it starts. So my thing is, you've destroyed the program for a good 2 years, and you've destroyed any connection between university and player, because a lot of players are bitter because the players are like, dude, we lost the game, and then you just fire the coach.